right, everybody, so hopefully this is going to be the last video, me explaining just general golf cart wiring when it comes to the voltage output, okay, the main circuit. Now, I have a 36 volt E-Z-GO golf cart. I've made videos on that, and I think I understand why people keep asking questions about how to wire batteries or how to add batteries for capacity to a existing circuit, is because anytime you show a picture or you make a video, all you see is, I call it Swiss cheese or noodles, right? You see cables and wires everywhere, and it gets confusing. So let me kind of back up and explain what I got going on to make 36 volts, and then also we'll touch on parallel wiring of batteries and what that does and how you can basically integrate that into your existing 36 or 48 volt setup. First thing is first, and I'm going to tell you, I made videos about my conversion, which obviously is a budget conversion, right? And I gave you guys the mileage. I told you that I didn't really have to do much. I didn't lose any capacity or mileage as I used the golf cart, and we used it a lot during the season, during the summer. And the only thing I had to do is just top off the batteries with some distilled water, which is not a big deal. They do sell kits even for golf cart batteries in general. But I'm going to tell you this: if you intend on using your golf cart a lot, especially if you have a lift, if you have nubby tires, you live on gravel road, dirt road, or you have a lot of hills, or you rent your golf cart either on a golf course, or let's say you have a property somewhere up north or whatever it is, right? A destination property, we'll just call it like that. And you're going to rent that golf cart out, spend the money, bite the bullet, spend the money, and buy yourself actual golf cart batteries just because of the range, okay, the capacity. Yes, $300+ on this conversion of 3 Deep Cycle Marine Group 31 batteries is nice, compared to $600, $800, $1,200 for actual golf cart batteries or more. We're not even touching the lithium side of things. Or let's say if you have a 48 volt golf cart, that's a different story, but you would have 4 12 volt Deep Cycle golf cart batteries in there, and they're also very expensive. But at the same time, on the side note, a 48 volt golf cart doesn't necessarily mean it's going to go faster. You can soup it up just like a 36 volt, but it's going to have more torque, and that's just what it's about. I always say that if you actually are looking to have a utility style golf cart, or you live, in the hills, or like I said, you have various gravel or dirt roads, get a 48 volt golf cart. You're going to enjoy it more. All right, so when I first got my golf cart from auction, this was over a year ago now, I ended up basically throwing out, well, we'll say recycling or using the batteries that it came with as cores, because the batteries were left out, like in the golf cart, sitting for X amount of months or a year, who knows, but they were just, the batteries were done. They weren't that old, but they weren't maintained. So I had no choice but to get the golf cart running, obviously. So I went with the route of doing a cheaper conversion, and on a 36 volt golf cart you will have 6 volt batteries making up 36 volts. Okay, so I went out and I bought 3 12 volt batteries. That's how I started, and I said my range was 12 to 14 miles or so on a full charge out of the 3 batteries. And when you wire batteries to achieve a certain voltage output in the circuit, it's actually called wiring batteries in series. So in series versus parallel, what you're going to do is you're going to take 12 volt battery, another 12 volt battery, you're going to wire them. That's going to give you 24 volts. If you add another battery to that circuit and you wire it in series as well, that's going to become 36 volts. And then if you add a fourth one, 48 volts, and so on and so forth, right? But the way it's wired is you got to look at your current golf cart layout. So for me, right where the driver sits, that first battery is where my positive leads come out, not only from the controller side, but also from the charger side, okay? A little built-in charger. And then on the passenger side is where I have my negative side. So all my negative leads are to that side. So the first battery that I have is battery 1, and what I did is I laid it out. I had my positive cables connected to it, and then my second battery, in the middle battery, I took a negative side of the first battery and I put it on the positive side of the middle battery, or the second battery in series, right? And then from there I went from the negative side of the second battery to the positive side of the third battery, which made up my 36 volt circuit, leaving the ground exposed for my other connections coming from the golf cart side, from the actual electrical system, motor, controller, stuff like that, regulator. So if I was to take a voltmeter and I was to put my positive lead on the positive post of battery 1 and the negative post of my third battery, I would read 36 volts or 38 volts, whatever it is, when it's fully charged, okay? If you read 24 volts or something like that, you didn't do something right. So that's the easiest way to tell. And obviously you never want to add a fourth battery in series, so making 48 volts on a 36 volt golf cart setup, because that's going to burn up a lot of your stuff, including your motor. You don't want to do that. Now, the latest question was, well, how do you add a fourth battery as a capacity battery? So what you're going to do is you're not changing the voltage output. You're actually just increasing your range. And by range, I mean miles to a charge when you take your golf cart out. And they said, where do you put it? Well, you can put it anywhere you want. For me, I had a spot on the driver's side, so my fourth battery went in basically next to my battery 1. But instead of going from negative to positive, I actually took my middle battery, my second battery that makes up my 36 volt circuit, and I went positive to positive of the fourth battery and negative to negative of the fourth battery. So instead of jumping from negative to positive, from positive to negative, I actually went parallel. And parallel, in a nutshell, is you can have 2 batteries, you can have 3 batteries, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 batteries. And if you go from positive to positive, from negative to negative, across X amount of batteries, your voltage output remains 12 volts. Your capacity within that bank now is whatever your batteries are rated for. This is commonly used in marine applications, boats, RVs. Let's say you're running a refrigerator that's a 12 volt DC fridge. You don't have a way to charge it, but you want to keep your drinks, your water cold. Let's say if you're on the water, right? You're going to probably run, let's say 4 or 5 hours off a single battery. On 2 batteries, it's not a true 1-for-1, but you're definitely going to add 4+ hours. Because you also need to understand something. Unless you isolate your batteries, or you have a switchable battery source, meaning that you have battery 1, 2, 3, that's another marine type example. All of those batteries that are connected in parallel are actually being drained at the same time. But now, instead of having one basically battery, you have multiples. And that's the easiest way to kind of explain that. But your output voltage remains the same. So in my case, I have 4 batteries, but if I measure from my battery 1 to my battery 3, I'm still getting 36 volts because that's how it's wired. And you know, you don't have to worry about burning anything up. And I ended up adding about 5 miles to my range, so give or take probably now 17, 18 miles to a full charge, which is not bad. I still have room for one more. I brought that up before, so I can technically add another battery, which would be 5 batteries. And of course, the 5th battery would also be wired in parallel. And you can wire it to your first battery, second battery, third battery, it does not matter. As long as you go from positive to positive, from negative to negative, and then you're good. The key and the issue becomes charging all those batteries, because more batteries you add to your basically circuit, you need individual chargers or trickle chargers that will maintain individual batteries, because your EasyGo charger is just not going to be able to do all of that and maintain those batteries properly across the board. I've made videos on that as well, and that's something that I plan on doing here this off season. I'm going to use my Marine charger that has individual basically legs that goes out to each battery and charges the batteries and maintains those batteries. That's something that normal chargers, especially older chargers like the EasyGo charger that I got, they don't do. They just top off batteries. So if your golf cart sits over the winter, at the very least, you need to plug that charger in and top off your batteries. You never want to drain your batteries from the temperatures or just very little use, right? And that's something that I would say you have to do at least once a month, a couple of times a month. But if you had a smart charger application like you find on RVs and boats again, all of that is done for you, so you don't really have to kind of guess. It's just, it puts a load on the battery, it sees if the battery needs a charge, and it does everything on its own. So hopefully that kind of helps. Like I said, not looking at noodles or not looking at cables all over the place, wires. In parallel, all that basically means is you're maintaining your 12 volt, if it is a 12 volt battery, and you can have 4, 5, 6 batteries in parallel circuit. When you wire something in series, you're actually jumping from positive to negative, from negative to positive, and what you're doing is you're basically adding those batteries and you're increasing the voltage output. So 12, 24, 36, 48, like I said, so on and so forth. And then the easiest way to make sure you've done it right is take your first battery and your last battery in your circuit and go from positive to negative. And if you're basically planning on getting 36 volts, that's what you should see, or 48 volts. And if you see something that's way off, you must have missed something, or something is wired improperly. And then of course, if you want to add a 4th, 5th, whatever battery 6, 7, you would be doing that in parallel. And the reason you do that obviously is so you don't increase the voltage output, but you instead increase the capacity. Hopefully that helps, guys. Comment below, and you know, hopefully I'm not going to do any more videos on that. If anything, when it comes to the golf cart, I'm going to do a video on the lift, a tire upgrade kit, and a Plumquick motor that I'm actually going to send my motor out to Plumquick to get it freshened up and beefed up a little bit to give me a couple more miles per hour. Talk to you guys later.